You're listening to the Freelance Blend Podcast, episode 172.
Welcome to the Freelance Blend Podcast, where we entertain, educate and engage freelancers from the Philippines and across the globe. And now, here's your host, Marv De Leon.
Hello guys.
Hey.
Hello Blenders.
Morning.
So it's been a while since we've done a Facebook Live. So to our replay viewers, hello. So hindi kayo familiar sa background. I usually do this Facebook Live at home, but I'm now I'm now outside. Lumabas na ako sa aking lungga, and I was invited by this guy beside me, Mr. Elbert Guintivano. He's one of the founders of Ground Up Business Solutions, a co-working space, and he'll be talking about their other services in a while. So, good morning to you guys, to that guy or girl watching us. Let us know where you're watching this from. Please type in sa comments where you are right now. Hello guys. So I'm here sa aking beautiful city of Parañaque City, where I grew up. And ikaw rin, di ba?
Yeah.
Parañaque.
Way back in the 1985s, 80s, we've been here, kind of dating ourselves, but at the same time, understanding the surrounding areas is extremely important for us as well. To be able to advise our coworkers as to where are the nice places to visit.
Yes. So pareho kaming tubong Parañaque. Hello, si Days. So hello, Days.
Hi, Days.
Hi, Days. So Days was here during the launch of Ground Up.
Yes, thank you for coming, Days. It was a very good. Thank you for coming over.
So please, comment where you are right now, and also share. Please share this video sa mga, especially sa mga tiga South based na freelancers natin, so that they are aware of this new co-working space, Ground Up. But before we start, sorry, nag-fidget ako, playing with my phone. Sorry. Okay. Siguro, give us, first of all, okay ba yung audio namin and video, Days? Please let us know if mahina. We will adjust before we start with the interview.
We're actually hosting this Facebook Live in one of the conference rooms here at Ground Up Spaces. So hopefully the acoustics are friendly, Facebook Live friendly.
Yeah. Hello, Alan. From Las Piñas. Uy, pwede ka pumunta dito.
How are you doing?
Yeah. So, okay naman. Mukhang okay yung ating audio and video because they're commenting. So, again, if you just joined us, I'm here with Mr. Elbert Guintivano of Ground Up. So, I'm here sa kanilang co-working space, and he'll talk about this newly launched co-working space later on. But first, please spread the word. Share this video sa inyong mga friends who are mga freelancers, especially based in the South. Please share this and tell us where you're watching us from right now. Just type in sa comment box, and also feel free to ask questions if you have any questions. So, first of all, we'd like to ask si Elbert, ano ba yung background niya, how you came up with Ground Up. Pero before that, what were you doing sa inyong career?
Okay. Well, just brief background. I have been in the technology industry for around 22 years. I first started off as a technical support engineer. And then where actually the transition from an office-based employee to a home-based employee occurred was when I moved from technical support to QA manager, and then I finally became a field service engineer, managing the Southern California region at the time. But more often than not, my day started off with me rolling out of my bed, going to my little corner of my master's bedroom, and then opening up at the time CompuServe, kind of dating myself, to actually provide remote support via fax as well as bulletin boards. I think where this particular business came out of is being involved in tech industry and understanding the idea around angel investors, as well as incubation houses, really spurred my interest in the idea around remote working. Not only experiencing it, but also seeing how not only the tech industry, but all industries, whether it's online tutors, freelancers, sole prop organizations, have started to leverage on the humble local coffee shop as their co-working environment. So that's kind of sort of my background. But moving back to the Philippines, having spent a long time in Singapore, I decided that the traffic was not getting any better. So I said that where is it more comfortable for me to work? And typically it was the local coffee shop, believe it or not, handling a lot of different businesses for foreign companies as well.
So you mentioned na it seems na you were based before in the US and then Singapore.
Right.
Pero just to give them a background, you grew up here in the Philippines. Actually, schoolmates.
Schoolmates, actually.
Go CSA.
Yes, go CSA.
Meron ba mga CSA, tiga CSA dyan? CSA Makati. Colegio San Agustin, Makati. So, kabatch ko yung younger brother ni Elbert. Pero a few years lang naman, di ba?
Shout out to Randy Guintivano out there.
Oh, Randy. Yeah. So, sa US ba siya? Ano dito?
He's actually in the US at the moment, working out there. But you're right, though. I think San Agustin was actually our linkage, which we didn't know in advance of our meetup previously. But my kids, when we moved from Singapore to Manila, had taken the test at San Agustin, a very good school. Unfortunately, the South Super Highway, which is what it was called before, is not as manageable as it used to be. So having to travel from Parañaque to BF Parañaque all the way to Makati didn't really excite me, even as a parent coming back to the market or to the country.
Yeah. Pero what's the reason why your family migrated from the Philippines to the US?
Well, it was my family in general. So I would say that I was graduated from college, Viva Mapua. And I after college, I went to the US to work. And then I spent around 5 years there. And then after 5 years, that company actually moved me to Singapore to start up the market there. So it's always been a dream of mine for me to make that big U-turn, because I fully believe this region actually has a lot more potential in terms of potential growth. And what excites me the most is the idea around freelancers and startups. Because I think that while of course having been in Singapore and seeing how the government fosters that particular industry, I think that slowly but surely the Philippines is also in that mode. And I think that my formative years were spent in the Philippines. I think I want to afford my kids the same amount of growing up and training, I would say. I think respect for the elders and religion was something that excited me. I think I grew up in that area, and I think I wanted to do the same with my kids. So here I am long term.
You mentioned you spent time in Singapore and you experienced yung startup freelancer culture. Hindi lang kami, me personally, I haven't heard much about the freelancing industry outside in the region. No? Parang, syempre, mas familiar ako sa Philippines. How is the freelancing industry in Singapore?
Well, it's quite exciting. I think that if you look at the way the freelancers work in Singapore, one, there's a lot of government-funded entrepreneurship. So there's a lot of different programs that actually have the Singapore government investing in freelancers, startup companies, sole prop, any organization. Actually, you have to kind of consider that Singapore really doesn't have any natural resources. So a lot of their money actually is either earned internally through some financial organizations, but they actually invest in outside countries as well. So you'll see them doing a lot of investments in Vietnam, in Malaysia. Even now, you see a lot of different infrastructures in the Philippines are being built by Singaporeans. But I think that in that particular case here, the government really does highly support the startup organizations, and are very excited about that. I'm seeing that slowly here in the Philippines with the likes of other different VC, venture capitalists. as well as angel investors, and there's some government programs that actually contribute towards a startup as well. That's quite exciting.
In terms of the type of freelancing work yung ginagawa ng Singaporeans, kasi here in the Philippines, because of our proficiency in English, so karamihan niya like virtual assistants, voice, tapos slowly, I think because of our proficiency in English, related na rin yung marketing, digital marketing, social media. So I'm curious, in Singapore, ano yung type of freelancing careers are they building there? Is it more of tech pa rin?
Well, there's a mix of tech. There's also a mix of digital marketing, a lot of SEOs in there, a lot of freelance writers as well. I think that while the Singaporean workforce is very tech savvy, I think creatively the Filipinos are very creative as a people, right? Not only in terms of writing, marketing, graphics design. I think that's where we were looking at as far as our strength in the region. So I think that the Philippines in general will be a market to be reckoned with, and you mentioned it earlier, right? Our proficiency in English is very high. Secondly, the creative nature of when we are given a task, we find a way to get it done.
Yeah,
that's kind of sort of
diskarte.
Diskarte talaga. Magaling tayo diskarte.
So we're talking about Singapore, and then what led you? I think you mentioned it earlier, pero siguro if you can ikwento mo pa what led you to move back to the Philippines after experiencing first world amenities and lifestyle. What made you come back to it?
Right. Actually, the journey back to the Philippines had started actually in the Philippines. In the US, where I did believe first and foremost the Southeast Asia market in general was a far more exciting, for me at least, from a growth perspective and a potential perspective. It's developing. That's first and foremost. And then, of course, I took the trip back to Singapore, in part because that was the initial transition, and the company that I had worked for at the time felt that there was a need for me to help build that market.
Yeah.
And while it was a great experience, and hello to all my Singaporean friends out there, or the Filipinos are in Singapore as well.
Yeah.
But the other reason why I wanted to transition back to the Philippines is really just my heart actually has been. I would say my heart was left in Singapore, in the Philippines,
in Manila.
In Manila specifically.
In Parañaque.
In Parañaque. In fact, I grew up here. But the idea behind it is I want to help the Philippines actually umangat sa some world market, if anything else, whether it's Southeast Asia, if not the world, to help the local industry, if not the country, grow. That's what excited me the most. And I believe that with my global experience, having traveled around the world for business, I think that my hope is coming back to Manila, I can actually impart those good practices that has been done in other countries back to the Philippine market. So really, that's what excites me.
Wala pa yung ground up sa idea mo nun?
Initially, no. Initially, it was the move back to the Philippines was to promote US-based software companies in the Philippines, and of course, we did a lot of deals with local companies, and then further supporting those companies. So that was the initial transition back to the Philippines. I guess the interesting part about that experience, so it helped me to build my network of friends as well as professional colleagues, and then I was able to see, kumbaga, what the actual potential is when I'm sitting down in the market itself.
So you were still employed by your company. You were assigned here.
Correct. I was assigned here to handle. I was a country manager of 2 US-based software companies, top of their class, great solutions, great customer base, helped to grow their business here. So that was an exciting part of me to see organizations locally adopt solutions that are not necessarily the traditional on-premise type applications, but rather cloud-based applications. Exciting me the most. To see that jump from on-premise to cloud was an exciting, I think, timing-wise, that actually further substantiated my move back to the Philippines, because the adoption of cloud is a lot more higher.
So, now, when did you start thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? Yung transition from being employed as a country manager for a company to being a country manager or general manager of your own company?
Okay. Well, I think that the transition first and foremost came about when I said that I did corporate for 22 years. I think the entrepreneurial itch kept on tapping on my shoulder. So it told me at I think November of last year that Elbert, it's time to take a break. And then reassess what you want to do for the latter part of your career. And then that's when I said that, listen, let's think about what we're going to do. And oddly enough, co-fathers, so my kids are in a local school here, and I had father and son camping trip.
Okay.
And it was at that father and son. Hello to Jay, Guillermo, and Alan Evangelista, who are business partners. Shout out to them. They are my co-fathers in that school. And then we said, what kind of business did we want to put up while I was making that transition from corporate to entrepreneurship? And we played with the idea of doing co-working, and that actually, I guess, rejuvenated my interest in the whole idea around incubation houses. This is where big tech companies in Silicon Valley would buy entire houses and host about 4 different companies, and they have equity. So that's kind of sort of when they said co-working, because of my experience as a remote road warrior, as a freelancer myself, I said that, let's build a space that's kind of incubation-like, but at the same time closer to where I guess the companies are. We not necessarily avoided this central business district, but we wanted to actually build these type of spaces that are closer to the people that needed it. Because I think it's self-defeating if a co-working location is positioned in an area that's ugod ng traffic. We want to take the traffic away from those areas. Make it easier for those people who have no choice but to go to CBD. But at the same time, for those that do have a choice, can actually co-work in our space as well.
So you left your company without that. Kumbaga nag-resign ka na wala pang.
That was interesting.
Kapalit. Wala pang something new to replace that.
I always make that joke that. When people ask me, Elbert, you left your company and now you're currently in transition, I go like, well, I don't want the high-paying salary. I don't want the health benefits. So those are the things that effectively I had to sacrifice in order for me to take this journey. As we were conceptualizing and building the space, there was always opportunities that came over to me to go back to corporate. However, when I weighed the heart, actually the mind makes the decision. The heart actually helps you make that emotional connection. The heart was telling me that entrepreneurship was where I wanted to go. I think I made my first peso, and of course, hopefully my teacher's not listening. I made my first peso doing other projects for other people back in the 80s. And then I said that fire kept continue burning in me. And I think that if I had adopted to go back to corporate, that particular fire would be diminished yet again. So I think it was important for me to take that leap of faith to figure out what to do next in my latter part of my professional life.
But is this your first business, or while you were working, you had side businesses, side lines?
Well, we initially, so while I was working, I initially conceptualized the idea around building something very close to my technical my expertise. Basically, was around technology, cloud-based solutions, and that was initially what I had thought of while I was still working. And while that was a good prospect initially for me, it didn't really excite me as much as interacting with entrepreneurs, freelancers. Those are actually starting up. I found that a little bit more exciting. So you're right. I had initially tried a tech company. When I had resigned from my previous company, it was a bit of a soul searching, a little bit of break as well, a little bit of sabbatical, if you want to think of it that way. And then that's when this one came about. The whole idea around the spaces came up.
So that's really, I think, like ako rin and that's what happened. I took the leap without knowing what will happen in the future? How will I feed my family? So, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers experience that.
Right.
And kudos to you for just talagang following your yung entrepreneurial itch or scratching that itch, and it seems na ito na, it's in fruition, and I congratulate you.
Thank you.
So can you talk about ground up yung how you found this space, and you said that you wanted a co-working space. So ano yung process and how you from planning and to right now we're here.
Okay. Well, it was an exciting journey, exciting and unnerving journey. But I do think that Marv makes a good point. When you make this type of leap, it's not something that you do on your own based on a gut feeling, right? It has to first and foremost It has to be a calculated risk.
Exactly.
Secondly, it has to be something that your wife, and I actually have 4 kids, by the way. So it's not something that you will take lightly. So it has to be something that has to be discussed.
Same thing that happened to me.
So that's the good thing. That now, when we first initially conceptualized, we did visit 2. Believe it or not, probably 3 or 4 locations. I'd say 2 or 3, or I would say 4, but only really considered 2 locations
in the area. In this, so sa mga nanonood sa atin, we're in Sukat area, Parañaque, near SMBF.
Correct. And in fact, we actually contemplated both the Alabang area as well as Parañaque. We did do the rounds around Alabang, and then we did do the rounds around Sukat. We were actually looking at a space right next door, but when we saw the space itself, we didn't feel that it had. We felt that if our coworkers went into our space, that we felt that they would be trapped yet again in another office. And it didn't really give a good vibe to us. There's a fair bit of work that needed to be done. And when you look outside of the office, your view is basically a parking lot. And the top of a chowking. So we decided that and one of the partners, Jay Guillermo, said, let's go over to the other side because there's a new building that was built right next to Max's restaurant. We came to the space and we looked at the area and we fell in love with it. I mean, you can have the view of the office in the background, but if you can see the reflection on beautiful glass walls, you can actually see the gardens that you can see. So when we immediately walked into the space, we said, and we looked out into the garden, we said, this actually helps to strike a very beautiful and exciting balance between working hard, but at the same time get a nice little eye break by looking out into the garden. And the space itself it was interesting because we had to negotiate this for about four months, primarily because they were going to make it 6 different retail outlets. And shout out to the Fuentebella family for allowing us to come in and actually occupying your space. I knew it was a very personal building for them. And we really had to prove the business as well as the type of people that would be coming into the space. But at the same time, 6 versus 1 was kind of a no-brainer for them. They only had to deal with now one organization.
You mean 6 different establishments,
retail
vendors,
correct,
to talk to maybe deal with versus 1, which is.
And we took the entire space. It was, again, yet another risk on our part. We took the entire, I guess, half of the first floor. But again, the view, the amenities, the partnership that we can establish with the surrounding businesses and walking distance to SMDF, Medical Center of Parañaque, made it really a no-brainer for us to actually sit ourselves down in this space.
In fact, when I walked in, I was a bit early. Parang wala ako sa Parañaque kasi I'm used to the Parañaque na sukat na it's crazy during the morning rush. Para ako nasa I don't know, Laguna, or para nasa probinsya kasi nga siguro later we can do another Facebook live. We'll show the surroundings.
We'll take a walk.
Tapos inside it's yung wood, yung furniture. You can really feel parang it's not in Parañaque, and it's parang if I'm a freelancer, parang gusto kong pumunta dito palagi to work. So siguro we can if people are now interested, they'd like to check out ground up. So well, siguro we can talk about first pala before we talk about grown up. Ano ba yung benefits of for a freelancer to work in a co-working space versus working sa bahay na you don't spend too much. I mean, you're just there. You can work or rest and then work again versus working in a co-working space.
Right. I think I did actually do a fair bit. So when I was the country manager for the software companies, I was home based to a certain extent, working out of a Starbucks, I would say, a Figaro or a Bose Coffee near you.
Yeah.
More often than not, even during those particular periods where I did work from home, I have a nice little corner in my house that actually served as my office. I did find it necessary for me to actually exit from home.
Yeah.
I had a young kid at the time. I had a lot of different projects. It was a new house for us. So I found myself doing a lot of small minor projects instead of working or being productive. So in certain cases, I actually had to leave the house, depart from my personal life to really focus in on work.
Maraming distractions.
Kumbaga. So to a certain extent, even though I did do my rounds around the Bo Coffee, Figaro, Coffee Bean, all those type. Thank you for all the people that actually put up with me spending probably 3 hours. I did actually order food and coffee at the time. But I think that more often than not, I think that what our co-working space gives above and beyond those type of experiences, first and foremost, is you have the office experience. When I say the office experience, you have actually individual quiet little spaces where you can sit down. We have the high tables, unlike you would see with some offices. We actually have high tables here. If you like, I personally like working while standing up.
Yeah.
So it keeps me a little bit more alert. So we have that variety of spaces that allows you to do the necessary jobs. One of the freelancers actually came in and she had a job interview with a German-based company.
Yeah.
So she literally came in not necessarily to go work, but to actually attend a interview.
Yeah.
So that's first. You can't do that in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You can never do that in a coffee shop. Secondly, high-speed internet. I think that later on, hopefully, we can actually grab your laptop, take a walk around. We have a very strong router, so we can go to the garden.
Or we can use my phone then.
Correct. So we actually have a high-speed internet connectivity free of charge as well, and unlimited coffee.
Yeah.
And what I was told, and of course, we'll probably have Jeff, who's the man of the hour here in the space, come in and bring in some coffee for us. Beautiful Batangas Barako coffee.
Sige, I can have a second cup.
Oh, yeah.
I was too early. Wala pa yung coffee.
Yes.
I'll just add to what you said. Exactly yesterday, I was at a Starbucks. Kasi, well, first, I was nasa Bose Coffee ako.
Yeah.
And then, I had to go somewhere near the school of my son.
Yep.
So, may Starbucks sa may Forbes.
Yep.
So, I was planning to go there kasi I have a call with my client.
Sorry,
So,
I'm just calling Jeff to get you some coffee.
sige, sure. So, ikiwento ko na rin sa ating mga viewers. So, pumunta ako dun sa... I plan to so, okay sa Bose Coffee, tahimik, pero I needed to be somewhere near kasi mahirap na maipit sa Makati. So, I went to a Starbucks near CSA. So, it's a Forbes. So, I was thinking na, wow, siguro naman may makakaupo ako tsaka tahimik kasi wala naman sigurong tao at that time.
Right.
Ayun nga, I needed to be somewhere na I can talk to my client and somewhere na quiet. So when I stepped in, I was surprised, punong-puno, first of all. Karamihan, well, if not everyone there, mga students.
Right.
So doon sila nag-study, may mga nag-tutor.
Right.
So imagine students, teenagers, imagine the noise.
Right.
Buti na lang nag-adjust yung plan ko. Sabi ko, I'm here at the time we talked about, but unfortunately, it's really very noisy. So I need to reschedule.
Right. And here's
Exactly.
Jeff on point with our nice, beautiful. But it actually brings up a good point. In fact, in some cases where...
Toast muna tayo.
Batangas Barako. This has a very nice chocolatey undertone. So it's not very acidic as well. I'm very hyperacidic. So
Mainit pa. First time ko yata mag-coffee, as in literally coffee with an interviewee live on the show.
We take a very big pride in our coffee here at the Ground Up, and it is unlimited coffee for those that are sitting down here. Going back to your story, it's actually a very good point, because in most cases I was a road warrior quite extensively when I was traveling around to my customers. I always told my customers when they asked me where my office was, I said it's a Starbucks near you. But literally, if I actually had to take a conference call, it was quieter to go out to the side of the street than actually take a call inside the coffee shop, because it's very very noisy, unfortunately. A good coffee, abundance of power plugs, maybe free internet connection for 1 hour. But very hard, not very conducive for
another thing. Internet. I was checking my Globe data, ilan na available ko sa data ko. Kasi I know yung Go Wi-Fi is just an hour, so very buti na understanding yung client. But if it's another client na hindi understanding, so apart from the noise, baka rin choppy or spotty internet. So I think exactly what you said, na if you're a freelancer and you have clients I talk to every day, here very quiet, internet we tested kanina, it was parang 100 Mbps something.
Correct.
So
well, I think that the other thing is you mentioned earlier is the space itself actually is quite dynamic in nature. Wherein we actually have a small little private phone booth in the back that allows you to conduct calls. And as I mentioned, that interviewee. In fact, she came in even pre-launch, so there was a little bit of maintenance being done to the space, fine-tuning of the space. But yet she said that Elbert was very quiet. In fact, she did actually leave a review regards to Fior. Congratulations on the new job.
Nakuha niya. Props to you.
Well, it helped. I would say. I would like to give her props then, because he's a very interesting person. But I think that other than that, there's another organization that actually her advocacy is actually cleanliness for the ocean. She was participating in a Google's Hangout, and she had planted herself in one of the office spaces, and she said she couldn't do it at home because it's very choppy. It didn't work out for her. But she actually participated as a panelist in a Google's Hangout, literally from one of our office spaces. So we're more than happy to accommodate you guys if you really need that private and quiet area, space provided.
Yeah, just for those who I shared like a week ago or 2 weeks ago yung launch, yung phone booth na sinasabi ni Elbert, yun yung kinlaim ko na podcast booth ko. So hindi talaga sa akin yun. So I just claimed it on my own. But
very comfortable space.
So siguro now that we got them interested probably in the space, meron tayong good morning, live great, Mercado. Yeah. So, if you have questions about Ground Up, about co-working, just type in the comments below and we will be happy to answer your questions. Again, please share this video sa mga friends nyo who are looking for a place sa Parañaque or the South sa co-working space dito sa Ground Up. Share nyo sa kanila so that they can see. Later, maybe we can go around the space to show the rooms. Ano ba yung, if they come here, ano ba yung mga packages that they can take, ano ba yung mga hours, yung usual questions ng people who walk in here.
Okay. So I guess the hours itself, I always said it was quite flexible. Initially it was 9 to 6, Monday to Friday. But as we are actually supporting other markets, we extended our hours from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. And because our existing customers or clients, I would say, or members that are in the space support different markets, even the holidays ng Philippines will be open for certain holidays, because one organization supports Australia, the other one supports Singapore. So we're flexible. I think from an opening hours, as far as opening hours is concerned, we are quite flexible in that manner. So while it's currently 5 to 7, Monday to Friday, if there is a need, and some of the bloggers have asked me before if we open up on the weekends, more than willing to accommodate. I live about 10 minutes. I'll be more than happy to host you in this space. At a time,
you just need to inform you
just
in
let me know.
advance.
Just let me know in advance. Let me know in advance. I think there are other customers that support the US. There are other support that support the Europe markets. Let me know what you guys need, and we'll do our best to actually provide it. But in addition, so talking about the packages themselves, we actually do provide co-working hot desks for a very affordable price of 450 pesos a day. That includes unlimited Wi-Fi, unlimited coffee, as well as you have a nice, especially in the recent hot months. We actually have some of our co-workers wearing their hoodies kasi sobrang lamig minsan eh. But aside from that, so our packages start at 450 a day. But in addition to that, we do offer monthly subscriptions that come at a more affordable price for both co-working as well as private spaces. We have private spaces good for 5 people, 6, 7, as well as 12. In addition to that, we also provide, again, when we set up this place, we really want to create a space that allows you to go to one location and have all the business services you need. Of course, aside from a space that you can utilize, we really want to create, we want to give you printing services, scanning. So printing services comes free for a certain number of pages. We do actually have free scanning services if you really want to utilize a scanner. In addition to that, we have value-added services around the space itself. So in addition to the space itself, we have HR services, which will probably be recruitment, performance evaluation, onboarding of employees, accounting, legal, marketing, online services. So the idea behind this is you actually have an ecosystem of services that helps provide support for your company to a certain extent, make your company look bigger than it actually is. So if one of our coworkers says, "Hey Elbert, can I say to this individual, go talk to my lawyer?" We do actually have a legal services person that actually represents the space and its clients as well. So those are the type of value-added services that we like to actually provide, and the coworkers can avail of. Accounting services. I mean, who wants to do their books at the end of the month, right? Or who wants to do filing of SS or their PhilHealth? This accounting service is a very low affordable cost. Can do those operations for you quite easily as well. And they're very well experienced. Part of it is if you're a part of the professional network, you have to be qualified to make sure to give our clients the right advice as well.
Very important, accounting.
Very accounting. That's my biggest headache, especially for expense reports. And Mart, shout out to Mart, is very good at his services as well.
So you're saying whole day 450. Do you have half day or minimum of 1 day?
So we even go at an hourly rate. In fact, if it makes more sense, then I advise the coworkers that are coming in to actually tell me when you're coming in what duration of time, and I'll advise you what's the most affordable package to get. We have an hourly rate of about 100 pesos per hour. Half daily is 250 pesos, and then the whole day is 450 pesos. So you can see the cost savings there when you extend it beyond just the normal hourly rate.
Not bad.
Yeah. But in addition to that, if you're, of course, when you're in Starbucks, and the store always goes, if you need to go to the toilet and it's always being full, you go to Starbucks, you leave your stuff on the table. Now, either you trust the security guard and the staff to look after your valuables, or you have to wrap up, go and wait at the toilet, and then wait for them to come and you bring it in. You have to bring it out, and then your seat is gone. Here at co-working, at our ground-up spaces, we actually do have locker services where you can actually do a daily rental of 100 pesos, and then you could just use the RFID tag. It'll let you in, you put your stuff in, and you can leave if you need for a nice little lunch around any of the food outlets around the area.
Yeah, about the hourly rate, the 100, I think it's not bad. It's very reasonable, and I think for people who would have like a quick 1 hour call na maingay sa bahay, they're just near, they can just drop by and walk in and have that call with the client and serves yung requirements for a place where you can, a quiet place where you can do your business. So that's, I think I didn't realize that I thought you were just offering whole days. Talagang, kasi I've been to dozens of co-working spaces. So they're not, I realize that they're not as flexible as you are when it comes to, yun nga, yung mga needs talaga ng freelancers. Like, yun nga, if we need like an hour lang na at least there's an option. So I think that's a very big benefit. And if we have our viewers who are really interested, they can drop by.
I think in addition to that, I mean, we have a group of freelancers, in fact, we have developers that are currently in the space. And this is a group of developers that decided to band together to get the private office. That way they can work more collaboratively. Because some of these freelancers are from Las Piñas, some of the freelancers are from Parañaque, Alabang. There's actually one freelancer all the way from Bulacan, but luckily for us, he's a little bit opposite, and they start very early in the morning, so he doesn't hit the traffic so much. But the idea behind it is the reason why they have to get into a space is to collaboratively work, and they're far more productive in their execution as well. So that's what they found. But that company's been in operations for 2 years, doing things remotely as well.
When they got this is their first time to work in a co-working space.
Correct. Yeah, this is their first time, and I don't know if they've seen each other prior to, but it's very nice to have good conversation with them over lunch. We bring bawang, we share bawang. The one Australian has a killer chili, a killer chili recipe that I have to try to see if I can steal. But that's the idea behind it, is for me to have a good meal with everybody, to understand how we can find the space to align to your business needs. It's really, really what I want to do when I have those meals with them.
I think another thing that you can mention when I first visited you here is that if, for example, especially for those who are planning to stay here long term, like monthly or whole day, na maraming options to eat. Like there's Max's in front of me, Max's, tapos yung high-end karinderya.
Ano pangalan niya? Paseo de Comida.
Paseo de Comida, na ang sarap din ng food. And
we worked it out, so you get a 10% discount at Max's restaurant as well as Paseo de Comida. Just mention that you're working out of ground up, and the managers will accommodate the 10% discount as well.
And they also have Santana Grove beside. Tapos sabi mo nga kanina, SMDF, that they can it's walking distance.
Correct.
So and then just come back here when you're after having your lunch or dinner.
Right.
So very convenient, kasi baka isipin nila this is very isolated kasi nga may greens Hindi. It is sukat na to. Sukat na yung...
Right.
But you don't hear the noise of sukat, di ba?
Yeah, that's another thing that we were a little bit concerned when we put this space, because it's just like 1 minute away from Sukat Road, where you have an abundance of options in terms of transportation requirements can be fulfilled. Jeepneys, UV Express. But the idea behind this is when we close off the space, you can't hear the craziness of the Sukat traffic and everything else. And we're at the foot of the Skyway exit. So literally, if you're coming in from Makati in the morning, there's no traffic. There's no
10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Correct.
From the Sukat exit.
Yeah.
On the west side, east side.
Right.
If you have questions, guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Elbert Guintivano of Ground Up. So Ground Up is a co-working space here in Sukat, Parañaque. So just type in your questions. Siguro before we wrap up, I believe you mentioned also future plans of Ground Up is to partner with Max's. Can you talk about that?
Well, I was a little bit apprehensive about it because we haven't really fine-tuned the details around it. But I think that the reality of a co-working space is if you limit your coverage to only the physical space, there's only so much that you can do for your coworkers. So ongoingly, we as the executive team for Ground Up are looking at other opportunities, if not options, for our coworkers to leverage on. And we're in talks with other organizations to be able to provide the same exact experience in their restaurants, if not fast food places, to provide the co-working experience, the unlimited coffee, the fast internet connection, the availability of power plugs, but in a restaurant setting. So there are hours within a restaurant where it's very quiet. So that's why we actually chose the restaurant, because you still have that quiet. You can still conduct your business without the noisiness of a rush hour crowd, rush time crowd. But we want to grow ground up outside of this physical sukat area, but our members can actually leverage on certain restaurants around the Metro Manila area to be able to still do the co-working. Because at the end of the day, we're all the road warriors. We have a meeting in Makati. We still need a quiet co-working space, not at Makati-based prices, but we still wanted that unlimited coffee, fast internet connectivity, and a quiet and a power outlet that's not so noisy.
Yeah.
So we're looking at those type of partnerships moving forward to be able to extend it beyond just this physical space.
So most likely in the future, people can expect the ground up brand, not just here, but in your partner establishments.
Correct.
So mas near to people who are not in this
In Parañaque. Correct.
So apart from that plan, ano pa yung other future plans for ground up?
Right. So I think that our advocacy, we really want to take the traffic away from the CBD. So when we talk about the physical locations for ground up, we don't look at those particular locations that are CBD focused. After this space, and this space is literally launched probably a week ago, we're now looking at the next location. And I'm not too shy about announcing that we're looking potentially at Nuvali, Cavite, and of course maybe perhaps further into the future. And because I'm Ilonggo by blood, so maybe perhaps Iloilo, Pampanga, Bulacan type locations. But the idea behind it is to be able to build this type of CBD experience without having to go to the CBD to get it.
Oh, that's good. So something to look forward to sa yung mga hindi taga Parañaque na nanonood sa atin.
Right.
Like yung nabanggit mo nga, Iloilo, Pampanga, etc. So yeah, I think if you have questions, you can answer them naman then after this. So I'm sure a lot of people will still watch the recording of this. So please, Elbert, invite them to ground up.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And tell them how they can message you. Sabi mo they can contact you if they want.
Yeah. You can contact me directly. More than happy to take your inquiries directly. So for all those viewers out there, first and foremost, I guess thank you to Marv for hosting this great conversation. Whether you're a freelancer, sole prop, remote worker, and we know that work from home bill is going to be instated soon. If you need a nice, good area to actually do your professional work, please come to our physical space, Lot 18 at Worker Arcade, right next to Max's Sukat, right
Thanks
on
for
Sukat
listening
Road.
to the Freelance Blend
In
podcast.
addition, you can be
For
more
more
than
details
happy
about
for
the
you
show
to visit
and our
us and like our
thriving
page
freelancer community,
on Facebook.
please
It's
visit us
Ground Up
at
Solutions. At Ground Up Solutions, we're also on Twitter, Instagram,
www.freelanceblend.com.
as well as LinkedIn. But the idea behind this particular space is actually to provide a business platform for you to help you grow your business. You can call us at 0917 853-1725, and as well email me personally at elbertg@groundup.ph, or visit us at our website at www.groundup.ph.
So ulitin natin sa mga podcast listeners, Elbert G as in golf.
Yes.
At groundup.ph.
Correct.
Okay, guys, if you don't have questions, again, we can answer them later on. Pwede nyo pa rin i-type in your questions, and we will share all the links. For our podcast listeners also, we'll also post the summary of this, the show notes of this interview sa freelanceblend.com with all the links that and the contact information shared by Elbert. Bro, thank you.
Thank you as well for all viewers out there.
Yeah. So we'll talk about after this. So I'll talk to Elbert for possible events here in the near future. So please watch out for that. So guys, thank you for watching, and yeah, have a good day. Yeah, peace.
Bye.
All right.